Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Imagine spending £7 a month paying Amazon for Amazon Prime, and then, after a year or so, deciding you no longer want to watch it. Simple, you just cancel your subscription. But imagine Amazon Prime said, wait, you have to carry on paying. And you say you're not watching their app, and they say, we don't care. You have to keep on paying us £7 a month for us to make programmes, even if you're not watching them. And if you don't pay us, we'll take you to court, and you could end up in prison. It's crazy, it's wrong, and it's stupid, of course. And no one would ever do that. Except the BBC, of course, because that's exactly what they do. This licence fee, which you have to pay if you watch broadcast television, and you pay to the BBC, regardless of whether you use their output or not, is outdated, outmoded, and from a different era. In today's multimedia-centric world, where we can click on 1,000 instant channels, we can sate our requirements very quickly and very easily. The BBC's model is ancient and not fit for purpose anymore. And it's amazing, truly amazing, that it's pulling off, forcing households to pay the licence fee. And that's not me saying that. That's the Director General of the BBC. Even he knows that the game is up, effectively. So we're going to have a look at this article and see what he said. And ask if it's time the BBC becomes subscription-based and not suckling off taxpayers. Because that's effectively what it is. It's a television tax. Here goes. So, BBC Director boasts it is truly amazing that the broadcaster is pulling off, forcing households to pay the TV licence, this television tax, effectively, where you have to pay regardless of whether you consume. Tim Davies said that the BBC does not need to make a profit on anything. Boris Johnson described the £159 annual licence fee as anachronistic, and it is. Why should we pay for output that we don't watch or don't like? Why not make it subscription? And if you want to watch it, you pay. Simple as that. The same as everyone else. The BBC Director General boasted to Star that it is amazing that the broadcaster is pulling off, forcing UK households to pay this tax. In a 1-hour meeting on Tuesday, Tim Davies said it was glorious that the BBC does not need to make a profit on everything, and they had slightly better budgets than some of the commercial operators. Yes, budgets extracted at the threat of prison. Snippets from a recording of the meeting seen by the Daily Telegraph show the BBC boss talking to staff at a BBC South as journalists prepare to strike over local TV and radio cuts. He bragged, it is truly amazing what we're pulling off, by the way, that most households are pretty happy paying a licence that's being forced upon them. They're not happy about it. They have no option because they're at the tip of a sword here. If they don't pay it, you will take them to court. He said, it's amazing what we're pulling off. Speaking about the licence fee settlement, he said, we've got to be careful at the BBC in our terms of our message to the outside world. Yeah, that message being we don't tell them how much money we're making on this television licence, how much we're spending on our vanity left-wing pro-woke ideas, rather than the main core, which is making television programmes. Everything is agenda-driven. Everything has to have a message. And that is what is destroying television and radio and films, is the message, the agenda, this woke wankery that they are injecting into everything, and that we're paying for it. Well, you're paying for it. I'm not paying for it. I stopped paying my television licence a long time ago, and they can go, boil their heads, because there is no way the BBC are getting a penny out of me. I live in the world of YouTube, and that, my friends, is free. And if you watch Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of the subscription services, you don't have to pay the BBC licence. It's cool, isn't it? People think that we're the cat with the cream at the moment, and I don't. And I know it doesn't feel like that internally, and I'm really sensitive about saying that. Yeah, because you don't want the truth to get out, because you're arrogant, because of you having this guaranteed income. You don't have to be careful. You don't have to penny pinch. You can do more or less what you like, because you are protected by law. The future of the BBC's funding is currently under review, but Boris Johnson described the £159 annual licence fee as anachronistic. Former Tory party leader Sir Ian Duncan-Smith said Tim Davies' comments shown the arrogance of the BBC. He told the Telegraph people don't actually think the BBC gives them what they want. It doesn't. People are switching off in droves. Their audience share is falling so fast. They are fed up getting spoon-fed this very central London, wokish, apologetic view of their country. A BBC spokesman said Tim Davies has been speaking to teams across the BBC about the organisation's strategy, alongside taking questions from staff. It is not unusual for these topics, among many others, to be raised in internal discussions. And that was the thing, it's internal, but now it's come out. And you've got the head of the BBC admitting that it is a bit of a rip-off and that he can't believe they've gotten away with it for so damn long. And that is it. How have they managed to get away with it for 100 years? It's about time this has changed. We need to change that format. It cannot be funded from central taxation. It cannot be a governmental service. It is a private organisation, and I would welcome it to go private. I would suggest, though, that up until the moment of privacy, when it goes private, everything that the BBC owns at that point, in terms of its output, so every television show made whilst it was a public organisation, subsidised and paid for by the people of this country, that everything it makes should belong to the country. There should be an organisation set up that will take ownership of all the output to date, and that if anyone else wants to show it, if anyone else wants to, broadcast it elsewhere around the world or internally or whatever, then they are free to do so. They will pay a fee, but they will pay the fee to this organisation, which then feeds into government and goes back into the coffers, back into the very people who paid for that output in the first place. That output belongs to the people of this country. And it's the only way to save the BBC. It is dying a death now, the death of 1,000 cuts, because nobody's watching it. And can't say to blame them. Everything is rubbish. Everything is rubbish. Anyway, I shall round off and come up and finish off the video. If private investors do buy the BBC, and God I hope they do, they will want a good return on their investment. They will not want to divide the audience. You divide an audience and you lose half of them. They'll want to double it, not halve it. And so they will make changes, and we will lose, hopefully at least, that lefty feeling, London-centric woke wankery that these overpaid, smarmy, smug, supercilious, oleaginous wankers that present their shows seem to exude through every pore of their skin. Look at me, I've made it all the way to the BBC. And they will go, because it's fine for that little London clique. But for the rest of the country, for the 52 million people who don't live in London, but who's still forced to pay currently anyway, the licence fee, it's a turn-off. We don't want to constantly hear about the doings of London and how great these presenters are, as they're sitting there on £500,000 a year for reading words from a screen. Any wanker can do that. But I'm not getting paid £500,000 a year for it, and you're here by choice, and it's free. Talking of which, carry on, hit that subscribe button and keep it free, and let's not let the BBC win. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, watch ITV, and goodbye.